in any case, you go back and you listen to our shows from January, February, March, even after post-Silicon Valley Bank, and I said, look, the economy's too strong right now to have an imminent recession in the first half of this year. There's no data out there that supports that and makes sense. I am starting to get the my spidey sense is starting to tingle a little bit, though.
Mm-hmm.
And not so much first half recession, but very much, hey, Q3, Q4 this year, there's something that looks like it could be building. It's not for certain, but there are a lot of different data points now that are leading me to believe that is somewhere that the U.S. could end up by the end of this year, before the end of this year. Okay? And I want to talk a little bit about what those things are. I'll also add the caveat, based on the data we have right now, it would not be a particularly deep recession. But here's what I'm looking at that gives me cause for concern. Just when we look at different parts of the equation here. Okay? The first is overall consumer spending. And a good proxy for that is retail sales. It's not all the consumer spending because retail sales doesn't account for services, okay? But it is something that gives you a general sense of, hey, what's going on there? And when we look at U.S. retail sales, they're pretty much in the same spot they were at in April of 2022. Not really much of a move since then. And that's happened despite the fact that over the last year, inflation's been running at 5%, according to the CPI data, 4.9 if you want to get specific. So you've had no real move in retail sales, despite the fact that inflation's run about 5% year over year. That means that real retail sales, how much stuff did people actually buy? Boop, it's down. It's down over that time period. You get a store like Target that comes out this morning and reports earnings, and they say, hey, we had the same amount of revenue as this time last year. And Wall Street goes, yay!
Mm-hmm.
Well, that happened with 5% inflation, so you actually sold fewer things.
Sure.
Because your prices were up. So that's just one piece. And again, not end of the world, but just, okay, pause and let's look at this. Second piece, the European data in particular over the last month has been, as the sheep say, bad. It's been not good. The European data has been decelerating over the last month. And that's despite the fact that for the first 4 months of the year, the first 3 months of the year, it was really good. It was really good. So there's something going on in Europe right now that is kind of concerning on that front. And the final piece here is if you take a look at China and just the dud of the Chinese reopening after their zero COVID strategy, it's evident to me that the Chinese economy in particular, A, the consumer spending that people thought they were going to get, not really there. And when you talk about, any kind of pull on the material side of things, just take a look at what copper's telling you in terms of its price today or its, futures curve and everything there. And there's a whole lot of nothing going on when it comes to Chinese industrial demand for things like copper. And that does matter because it also reflects that it's also a reflection of, hey, if the Chinese economy is not seeing big export orders, which they're not, and you know that because shipping rates are in the toilet as well, what's really going to drive that part of the world and what drives, the global economy in Asia then? So I look at all of these different pieces here, and I'm kind of building towards the idea now that, yes, I think that it's more likely than not at this point, actually, that there's some kind of recession in the United States before the end of this year, but I don't know that it's a particularly bad one.